Your reflections on tonight. Do you consider this a win? It's not a win. You haven't won.
No. We wanted to form a majority Labour government, obviously. So it's not an overall success. But if you look back, we were in an interview a few weeks ago, weren't we, when we were over 20 points behind in the polls, and no one gave us a hope. Mm-hmm. And in fact, people were talking about complete meltdown for the Labour Party. Landslide victory for the Conservatives, and the Labour Party going back almost to the 1930s in terms of the number of Labour MPs we had. We've overcome that. I think we've had some considerable success. However, we're not in government with a majority position, so what we're offering ourselves is a minority government. So I don't think the Prime Minister's position is tenable, and I can't see the Conservative Party being stable.
But the Conservative Party should have the right, should they, to go first, to try and make this work if they can with the DUP?
Well, let's start with the Prime Minister, because if you look at the whole situation, the Prime Minister, I just cannot see how she can continue on. It's not just me saying this, it's Conservative MPs as well. And we've got a number of leading Conservatives, David Davis, Boris Johnson, on manoeuvres at the moment with their leadership
But that's
campaign.
for them to decide, isn't it? Who leads the party?
It is, but
they should be given the first choice to form a government, shouldn't
Well,
they?
I think it's up to... Well, I don't think they're a stable enough party to enable that to happen. Certainly she can seek to form one, but what will she do? Do a coalition with the DUP? Well, pardon the expression, that's a coalition of chaos as far as I can see.
Okay, a phrase we've heard before, but how can you in minority government be more stable than the Conservatives and the DUP together?
Yeah, it's a good question. Look, what we would do is put forward a Queen's speech based upon the policies of our manifesto, and also an alternative budget that we've costed policies that we had in our manifesto, and would invite MPs to vote for it. And I think we would secure, not through deals or coalitions, we would secure majority support for those policies as we advocate them in Parliament, because I think they've got majority support in the
Is that not just a coalition by another name?
No, it isn't. It's a stable minority government, but it does mean, yes, that we're making sure that we have a full democracy in this country. You overcome a lot of the tribal politics that have gone on, and at the same time you recognise that the Conservative Party, unfortunately, is going to be unstable for a long period of time.
Are you in talks with the SNP and the Lib Dems and others at the moment? No talks at all behind the scenes?
No talks, no negotiations, no deals. A stable minority government.
So you wouldn't even do a coalition if they approach you?
No,
these other
we're not
parties?
into coalitions like that. We're not into stitch-ups.
If you did manage to get it, well, let's talk first about what would happen if we don't see some stability here, because this is a hung parliament with incredible uncertainty hanging over it. Do you see us in another election this year?
If the Conservatives fail to put together enough seats to form a government itself, which I think they will, the usual protocol is that the Queen will then approach the next largest party, and that will be us. And I feel we'll be able to put forward a minority government position that will hold. So
you don't think there's going to be a need for another election this year?
I think people have had enough of elections, quite honestly, but we'll seek to do our best in the interest of the country. The reason Theresa May has failed is because people recognise that she called the general election unnecessarily in the interest of her party rather than the country. I think people have had enough of that.
You must be disappointed with the results in Scotland, though. Not only losing out last time to the SNP, now the Conservatives back with a vengeance in a part of the country that there were very few Conservative MPs.
I think last time we spoke, I said then it's going to be a long haul for us to rebuild the Labour Party in Scotland. And actually, we're just seeing the first stages of that with the seats that we're picking up. So I'm quite pleased with the advances that we've made.
But Ruth Davis and the Conservative Party seem to be doing much better than you are in Scotland at the moment.
If you look at, I said it's going to be a long haul. I said that. The SNP are now splitting themselves apart. I think the Conservative Party in Scotland will eventually be exposed for what they are, because they'll continue to support basically an austerity party in England through Theresa May. And as a result of that, I think they'll become deeply unpopular.
This is clearly a very divided country. If you look at a map from the high level, you can divide it along all kinds of axes, whether that's Scotland versus others, whether that's rural versus urban, whether that's youth votes versus older. How do you unite the country at the moment?
I don't think it has to be divided in that way. And I think the manifesto that we put forward demonstrates that you can bring people together. And the whole point about Jeremy Corbyn's politics is about consensus building rather than the Yarbu nasty politics that we've had over
Wasn't it
recent
about
years.
motivating the youth vote and getting the youth
to a certain
vote
extent,
out?
To a certain
how
extent.
do you build the bridges with the other generations?
Can I just say, it was to a certain extent, it was about giving young people hope for the future, and that clearly worked in terms of mobilising them and enthusing them. But also, I think we picked up quite a lot of elderly votes as well, because they were so disillusioned with the threat of a dementia tax. And what happened to the Conservatives, and I need to learn this lesson really, is that For elderly people, the Conservatives thought, well, they always vote for us anyway, and they turn out. They don't matter. For young people, they thought, well, they don't matter because they don't vote anyway. So they alienated both young and old. And what we're trying to do is build a cross-generational consensus.